Alright, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be giving my top 10 shooting guards in the NBA. We did point guards the other day, so if you missed that, you can go back and watch that one. Today, we got the shooting guards. This is kind of a tough list to make, but we finally made the list. We're going to tell it here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. Join the membership. If you want to learn more about the membership, there's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Look at my Twitters, all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Before we really get into it, I just want to say these are all my personal opinions. If you disagree, that's fine. You know, leave it down low in the comments section below. You know, what you would change, who you would have on your top 10 shooting guards and all this stuff like that. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Now, let's get right into it. Starting at number 10 on my top 10 shooting guard list, we have Herb Jones from the New Orleans Pelicans. Jones last year averaged 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal on 49, 41, 86 shooting splits. And then his first round series against OKC, he averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and a steal on 39, 33, 100 shooting splits. Herb Jones also made all defensive first team last year, finished top 5 in DPOY voting, which is really amazing considering now that all these teams are positionless. He still made all defensive first team with a bunch of centers, and he's a guard forward, and he makes the team. But Herb Jones on the top 10 list, even though statistically he'll never have the numbers that a lot of other guys that maybe not on this list are kind of around the same range of him on this list do have. You know, of course, you could always put a 20, 22 point per game score or whatever on this list, obviously. But what Herb Jones does on the basketball court and how he contributes to winning, that kind of balances out for everyone else. There's a lot of guys here that do score a lot. You know, they have a lot better statistical numbers than Herb Jones, but the way Herb Jones impacts the game, he impacts the game more than them in a certain sense. And last year, average career high in points, assists, shooting wise was amazing. I mean, he was very, very close to 50, 40, 90 shooting, which is insane for a guy like Herb Jones, who's mainly a defender. Now he's become an actual, like, reliable offensive player. So Herb Jones, we already know how he is defensively, one of the best defenders in the NBA, obviously, all defensive first team last year. But then now he could become a very reliable offensive player, shooting the 3 ball and all that stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want a guy like Herb Jones on your roster, you know? So Herb makes the top 10 list, even though, again, statistically, he won't have the numbers that a lot of the other guys do, but the way he impacts the game and the way he plays and the way he helps winning is just so important. At number 9 on the top 10 shooting guard list, we have Tyler Herro of the Miami Heat. Herro last year averaged almost 21 points per game with 5 rebounds and 4 assists on 44, 39, 85 shooting splits. And then the first round series against Boston last year, he averaged almost 17 points per game with 3 rebounds, 5 assists on 38, 35, and 90 shooting splits. Herro last year had a very injured season. He only played in 42 games, which is the lowest of his career last season, which really, really sucks for Herro because he has been really, really good over the past few seasons. But Herro, still very good, still a guy that can go get a bucket. Still, he has become a lot more of a playmaker. His playmaking skills have gotten a lot better. Last year, career high in assists per game, 4.5. In the playoffs, he averaged 5 assists per game. He had that game, I think game 2 against the Celtics, where he had I don't remember exactly how many assists, but he had like a 12, 13, like that type of assist game, which was really, really impressive to see. And so if Tyler Herro could just stay healthy, he's really big for this Miami team because, of course, the Heat, you know, they're a team that needs scoring. They're not a very high-powered offense. And Tyler Herro is one of their better offensive players that they have. He's a guy that can score on all 3 levels. He has been very, very good since coming to Miami. Now, what can he do much on? He can't really do much on the defensive end, and his playmaking isn't super proven yet, even though he did have a career year last year in his playmaking ability. His playmaking is not super, super proven yet, and injuries have affected him. Of course, he missed the 2023 playoff run with Miami, and then last year only played in 42 games. So injuries have been a big part, and he's got a pretty nice contract on him. But Tyler Herro is still really, really good. He's still a guy that can go get a bucket whenever he needs him to. and he's still only 24 years old. He's still very, very young and can still develop a lot more of his game. And I think if he could become a decent playmaker, not saying he needs to average 8 assists per game, but I think if he can become a respectable playmaker for this Heat team, because I'm pretty sure they might be running a lot of point guard next year with him and Terry Rozier in the backcourt. One of those guys are going to have to run the point, and it might be Tyler Herro that they trust more with that responsibility. But I think if Herro can get into that role and be a respectable playmaker, I think that makes things a whole lot better, if not only for him, but for the Miami Heat as well. At number 8, the top 10 shooting guard list, I have Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. LaVine last year averaged 19.5 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 4 assists on 45, 35, 85 shooting splits. Now, LaVine only played in 25 games last year, the second fewest of his career, due to knee injuries. And ultimately ended up taking season-ending knee surgery to miss the rest of the season. But LaVine is still an all-star level talent, former multiple-time all-star. Ever since he got to Chicago, he's been a 24 point per game, around that type of score. Last year wasn't a great Zach LaVine year when he was playing, due to multiple different reasons. 19.5 points, the fewest since 2018, where he only played in 24 games due to coming back from an ACL injury, where he averaged 16 points a game. But LaVine is still really, really good. A lot of the discussion around Zach LaVine right now is not really about his talent. It's about his contract and his potential trade destination with the Chicago Bulls, looking like they're going younger, and with them really trying to get rid of Zach LaVine's contract that they paid him a couple years ago. So a lot of the conversation and the perception around Zach LaVine is not really about his play. It's about his money, really, and about his injuries that he has suffered in the past couple years. But do not forget how great Zach LaVine is. 2021, he averaged 27, 5, and 5. 2022, he averaged 24, 4, and 4, both All-Star years. And then last year, 2023, he averaged 24, 4, and 4 in 77 games. So do not forget how amazing Zach LaVine is. The guy is a 3-level scorer, efficient 3-level scorer as well. A guy that has surprisingly good efficiency for the amount of shots and the kind of shots that he does take. Now, there's also a lot of talk about him when it is his play. Defensively, doesn't really provide too much, and not really a great playmaker as well. He can once in a while, but not someone you primarily ask to play make and all that stuff. He's kind of more of like a electric scorer. Zach LaVine is from all 3 levels, which he's amazing at. He is really, really good at. Any team that does have him is gonna get an amazing player, and a big boost to this team. But again, a lot of the talk around Zach LaVine right now is about his contract more so than his actual play and what he does on the court. But again, I hope people do not forget how great Zach LaVine is when he's healthy and when he's out there playing. At number 7 on top 10 shooting guard list, I have Dejounte Murray from the Atlanta Hawks. Now he's a New Orleans Pelican. Last year, he averaged 22.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists with a steal on 46, 36, 79 shooting splits. Dejounte did not have a great time in Atlanta. After 2022 in San Antonio, he was an all-star, got traded to Atlanta. The last 2 years in Atlanta, team success has not been there for the Hawks. Trading Dejounte clearly didn't work, and now Dejounte has moved on, and he will be back as a point guard next year, not a shooting guard. But last season, Dejounte Murray still had a really good season. He averaged career high in points, 22.5. Also gave you 5 rebounds and 6 assists while dealing with a Trae Young, who's a ball-dominant guy, still giving you 6 assists per game with the steal. Now, the defense has kind of fallen a little bit, but that's also because the Atlanta Hawks are a bad defensive team too, so you got to take that into account. But now he's back in New Orleans, where they were a top 10 defense last year, I'm pretty sure. So that culture is going to be back in. DeJounte will be better defensively. But he also has so many great moments. I mean, he had that game against the Boston Celtics where he took 40-something shots and had 40 points. I had multiple game winners, was one of the clutcher players last season as well. DeJounte Murray still has a lot of game. He's still a great point, a guy that can handle the ball, has really underrated handles, has become a really solid 3-point shooter. I mean, last year, 36% from 3 on 7 attempts. That's the second best 3-point percentage just his rookie year, where he only took less than a 3 per game. So his 3-point shots become consistent. Defensively, he has the potential to do it. And then he can still play make, not afraid of the big moments. I think he's going to go in New Orleans. I think he can have a really big season next year in New Orleans, where he's back as the main ball handler, a new situation. It seems like he loves to be in New Orleans from all the things he's been saying and posting. So DeJounte, expect a big year next year for Dejounte Murray, because he is still a really, really good player. It's just the situation that happened in Atlanta was just not the right situation for him, and the Hawks missed out on it. At number 6, in the top 10 shooting guard list, I have Desmond Bane of the Memphis Grizzlies. Bane last year averaged 23 points a game with 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and a steal on 46, 38, 87 shooting splits. Desmond Bane had an amazing season last year. He only played in 42 games, unfortunately, because the Grizzlies just had a lot of stuff going on last year. So I think that's why maybe he's 6 on the list, and maybe not 5 or whatever. But Desmond Bane has been great. I mean, last year when he did play, he was great. Career high in points, career high in assists, just amazing. I mean, 23 points and 5 assists per game for Desmond Bane is not something you probably would have expected after watching his first year or even his second year of his career. He's just gotten better every single season. I mean, look at his numbers statistically. He has gotten better. He went from averaging 9, 3-1 his rookie year to 18, 4-2 his second year to 21, 5-4 to 23, 4-5. He has just improved so much. You can see it on the court as well. You can see every year he comes in with a new game. Really, like he just gets more confident, gets more polished and better every single season. It's just amazing to see players like that. He's still only 26 years old. He's still really young. And I think if he can have a similar type of year this year, next season, he might have some All-Star consideration. Will he get there? Probably not, because the Western Conference is so stacked with guards. But he has that type of game. If he can have a similar year next year with John Morant's back, with Jaren Jackson, the Grizzlies are probably going to be one of the better teams in the Western Conference. Bane can, maybe get some votes, I guess. Again, I don't think he'll make it, but he'll definitely have, an argument for it. Also, the efficiency. I mean, he's every year besides last year, he's a 40% three-point shooter. Last year was 38% and 8 attempts, which if you're taking that many threes and shooting that high percentage, I don't really care. I mean, you're hitting shots like that. We know how great of a shooter he is, but he's just become so much more. He's a guy that can put the ball in his hands. I mean, he averaged 5.5 assists per game. He's a guy that, can play make now. It can make the extra pass. He can make the right reads. A guy that doesn't need just a 3-point shot to score. He can go to the mid-range game and make it happen. He got a little floater. Like again, he has just improved so much every year in the NBA. He's gotten better and better and better and better. And I can't wait to see him back fully healthy, hopefully, next season for what he can do with Memphis. At number 5, in the top 10 shooting guard list, I have Derek White of the Boston Celtics. White last year had 15 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block on 46, 39, 90 shooting splits. And then their playoff run, he averaged 16, 4-4 with a block on 45, 40, 92 shooting splits. Derek White is incredible. He is no doubt the best role player in the NBA. He's dang near an all-star. He is an all-star role player. Like when it comes to role players, he's the elite of it. He just does so many different things, fills any gap you need him to, just does whatever you need him to. 3-point shooting, he's become a really good 3-point shooter. He shot 39% on 6 attempts last year. He's become a really good 3-point shooter. He's doing it in an efficient way. He doesn't take bad shots. He doesn't make bad plays on the court. He always knows what the right play to make is, whether it's to make the extra pass or make the right read or take this shot or don't take this shot to get an even better shot. Defensively, he's one of the better players as well. He made all defensive second team last season. I mean, he just does so many things well. That's why he made it Team USA as well. He made it Team USA, even though he doesn't have the biggest name, just because he's a guy that's going to do whatever it takes to win. He's just one of those elite winning players. And he's high on this list, even though the last few guys before him, almost everybody besides Herb Jones on this list has better numbers statistically than Derek White. Derek White, 15, 4-5, a steal and a block. Everybody else on this list beside Herb Jones averages 20 or more points per game. So statistically, yeah, they might have better like numbers and all that stuff than Derek White. Might have a bigger name or maybe a better looking game or could do more. But when it comes to winning games and when it comes to guys that you want on your team to help make your team better, Derek White is one of the first guys you name after you get your star player. Derek White is one of the first guys that you are going to take when you're building a team, because he's one of those guys that just, again, he does anything you need him to do to help win games. Derek White is going to do. He's the ultimate role player, the ultimate glue guy, the ultimate winning player. And that's why Derek White is so high on this list. At number 4, on the top 10 shooting guard list, I have Kyrie Irving of the Dallas Mavericks. Irving last year averaged 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal on 49, 41, 90 shooting splits. And then their playoff run, he averaged 22, 3, and 5 with a steal on 46, 39, 85 shooting splits. Just amazing to see how Kyrie has kind of went back into the number 2 option next to Luka and how amazing he did when he first got to Dallas, he played good, but the team just didn't equate to winning. And now, after having a full offseason to be with the Mavericks last year, he had an incredible season, one of the more underrated regular seasons. I mean, 25, 5, and 5 on almost 50, 40, 90 shooting. I mean, he was 3 percentage points away from 50, 40, 90 last year. Now, he didn't qualify for All NBA and stuff because he only played in 58 games, but he had an amazing regular season. And then the playoffs, he had so many big moments, not even just scoring wise, which is why I think a lot of people turn for the better on Kyrie because he has so many moments where he wasn't scoring or he wasn't doing that, but he was doing all the other things. Playing defense. The first time we've seen Kyrie play defense in who knows how long. Like actually locking in and guarding. Making all the other plays. Making the hustle plays. Diving for loose balls. Getting his other teammates involved. Like he was just doing all the little things beside, being a highlight reel and scoring, which we know he can do on the regular. But him doing all the other little things just opened our eyes to Kyrie and how well he fit in with this Dallas Mavericks team and how well he was the number two next to Luka Doncic on a team that made it all the way to the NBA Finals. So Kyrie, just though him going to Dallas and him being able to mold his game to still being Kyrie while helping out this team a lot and being on one of the better teams in the Western Conference is just an amazing career arc turn after, in Brooklyn he had some good moments, but then he had a lot of off the court moments and wasn't healthy at all. But now he's in Dallas and now he's back as like, people love Kyrie. I mean, who doesn't? I love Kyrie's one of my favorite players ever. Kyrie just is so amazing, but for him to be able to finally get this team help a team get back to winning on one of the highest levels is just awesome to see him do that. At number 3, on top 10 shooting guards, we have Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mitchell last year averaged 26 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and almost 2 steals on 46, 36, 86 shooting splits. And then in the playoffs, he averaged 29, 5, and 4 with a steal on 47, 35, 81 shooting splits. Donovan Mitchell in his 2 years in Summer Cleveland has skyrocketed. I mean, in Utah, he was still great, but once he got to Cleveland, it's just something else. He took another step at another level, which I didn't even think was possible, but he did. Now his scoring dropped a little bit, but he averaged career high in rebounds, career high in assists, and career high in steals. So just rounding out his game and doing all the little things. I mean, averaging 6 assists per game last year is great for Donovan. He become a lot better of a playmaker, rebounding, doing his thing defensively. He can lock in and do his thing. And then you know what he's going to do in the star moments in the playoffs. He has some great runs with the Cavaliers. I mean, he had a game where he scored all the team's points in the second half of the third and the fourth quarter. He had game 7 against Orlando, was just absolutely incredible. And Donovan Mitchell, he's just absolutely incredible. Just does so many great things on the court. Has really rose to superstardom. Like he's dang near right there at superstardom. Some nights he is. That's just what he does. Ever since coming to Cleveland, now he's signed an extension with Cleveland, and it looks like he's gonna stay here, which I love as personally as a Cavs fan. I love me some Donovan Mitchell, but he's I mean it's great. He's great. There's not much more really to say about it. The way he has become this leader and this star player on this really good team. Back in Utah as well. In Utah, he was on some of the best teams in the league. Now, did it translate to playoff success? Not as much as we wanted to, but in the playoffs, he takes another step. In the playoffs, he is absolutely incredible as well. So it's like there's not many knocks that you can have on Donovan Mitchell, despite him. He's not made a conference finals yet. That's the only really thing you could say. That's like, dang, he hasn't done that yet. But everything else, like he's done. He's done so many things, and he's just one of the more fun players to watch. At number 2, on the top 10 shooting guard list, we have Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. Booker last year averaged 27 points, 4 rebounds, and almost 7 assists on 49, 36, 88 shooting splits. And then their first round series against Minnesota, he averaged 27, 3, and 6 with almost 2 steals on 49, 35, and 95 shooting splits. Booker is great. I mean, in a year where the Suns kind of had a disappointing season, Devin Booker was obviously one of the bright spots. Career high in assists per game, almost 7 assists per game last season. Incredible. He's just the way he's become a ball handler and a playmaker for others, and the way he's actually can kind of play point guards at some point, especially with a team that has him and Bradley Beal. It's just incredible to see that transition. How great he's becoming, how much better of a basketball player he's become in that regard, and how it leads up to his scoring as well. I mean, he's a consistent. The last 6 years, he's averaged at least 25 points per game. He's become just an absolute amazing scorer, doing it in a very efficient way as well, considering the amount of shots and what what shots he takes. And then the Olympics as well, he had a really good run. A lot of people turned for the better on Devin Booker after his Olympic run, where he became an ultimate role player. Just the things he was doing defensively, the way he was hitting his shots, was just really, really great to see. And yeah, is D Book. D Book is one of the better players in the league. Made All NBA third team last year. Was an All Star. Just incredible. The playoffs were not as great. He did have that game four, I want to say, or game three, where he had, oh no, game four, where he had 40 something points. I kind of lifted his stats up a little bit, but ultimately wasn't a great series for him. And usually, where he has been pretty solid throughout his playoff run. But D Book, still elite, one of the better players in the NBA. Love to watch him as well. You watch his game and it's like, man, this dude just can ball. Like the way he gets to his shots, the way it looks just so easy for him, the way he kills in the mid range, which I love. 3-point shot obviously is there. Now he can play make. Just you watch him on the court and you're like, dang, this guy just knows how to do it. And at number one on the top 10 shooting guard list, we have Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Edwards last year averaged 26, 5, and 5 with a steal on 46, 35, 83 shooting splits. And then their playoff run, he averaged 27, 7, and 6 with 1.5 steals on 48, 40, 81 shooting splits. Anthony Edwards has become Anthony Edwards. I mean, everybody knows what Anthony Edwards is right now, what his potential is and all that. And him already kind of being on the number one shooting guard list, or in the consideration even for number one on the shooting guard list, is insane at 23 years old. I mean, last year he had an incredible season, finished All-NBA second team, was an All-Star starter, I think. I think he was an All-Star. Oh, no. He came off the bench, but still was All-Star. Finished top 10 in MVP voting. Had the Timberwolves as one of the best teams in the regular season in the West, and then got them all the way to the conference finals, having so many big moments. It's Anthony Edwards. He's become so much of a star on and off the court that it's kind of hard to talk about NBA and all that stuff without mentioning him now, which is insane. That's when you've become one of the guys. And yeah, just everything he's done. Even in the Olympics, he has some big moments. Everybody knows how much potential he has and what he can become. But him already being here right now at 23 and already being in these conversations and stuff, it's just absolutely incredible. The guy's a human highlight reel and gets through him and dunk on anybody. He's become elite in the mid-range game, 3-point shooting, defensively. Just has those moments. He has moments where it's like, I'm the best player on the court right now, and I'm gonna show it right now. Give me the ball, and I'm gonna kill. Like, he just has that attitude and mentality when he's on the court, and it's just amazing. And then, of course, off the court, just has so many fun, lovable moments. He has his own shoe now and ads. It's just, he's going everywhere. He's one of those guys now when you talk about the NBA and all that, you have to mention Anthony Edwards in some sort of conversation, because Anthony Edwards has become such a star in every sense of the word. And I'm just super, super excited to see how he comes into this year. Definitely probably will be in MVP conversations, especially if the Timberwolves are one of the better teams in the Western Conference again, which you can probably assume they will be because they kind of have the same team, and I don't see them falling off anytime soon. That he'll probably be in MVP conversations, be an All-Star, All-NBA type player. Like, he maybe be in the top of the scoring department. Like, he just is going to do so many great things. In the playoffs, he's already shown how well he is. He's already had, even when this team wasn't good. In his first two playoff series, he was amazing as well. And now for him to be able to lead them all the way to a spot that they don't make it there often. That was only the second time ever they made it to the conference finals. Like, I just can't wait. I think everybody in the NBA world is just really anticipating to see what Anthony Edwards does for the rest of his career. And yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said earlier, if you want to leave down below in the comment section what your top 10 shooting guards are, what you would change, what your list is, leave them down below in the comments. Feel free to. And be on the lookout for the small forward video that's coming out on Sunday. I want to say, yeah, Sunday will be the small forward video. But yeah, once again, if you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing, liking, turn on notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.